And just because you're getting older doesn't necessarily mean you're getting slower. I'm going to tell you how you can get faster. I'm nearly 48, and in the last 4 years I've gone from running my first sub 20 5k to running an 18:25 just a few weeks ago, and it's not what you think. Before I let you know, just hit that thumbs up button, help the channel to grow. And did you know 70% of people who watch these videos don't subscribe? Come on, it's free. Just hit that button. Just because you're getting older doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get slower. Well, yes, it will if you carry on doing what you're doing. Unfortunately, when you're, getting nearer to the kind of 50, our bodies need more recovery. So we need to adapt our training, and the way to do that is to run less. And you kind of think, well, how can I run less but still improve? Well, what I mean by run less, I mean that we need to focus more on our recovery. The best way that I think that you're training kind of moving forward is to work on a 4-day one week and then a 3-day the next week. And you're thinking, well, why 4 and 3? Well, that's if you was to be running every other day. So the first week, if we was to kind of look at the training, you would incorporate one long run, which you know how long your long run should be. So, you know, whether it be 10 miles, 15 miles, incorporate a tempo session in there, which is approximately 85% of your maximum heart rate, or 25 seconds on top of your mile pace 5k that you can run for typically 20 to 40 minutes. And also you would do 2 easy runs in there, and that'd be your runs for that week. On the 3-day week, then if you want to, that's probably a good week for you to incorporate intervals, because intervals are higher intensity, so you need more recovery. And intervals are normally run at your 5k pace or slightly slower, and that's normally anywhere with kind of between 3 and 8 reps depending on your ability, with about 3 minutes recovery. And then your other run would be an easy run, but depending on what sort of mileage you want to maintain from one week to the next, you know, you might do a longish run on that second run, and then obviously the longer run on the weekend. So, and then the following week back to the 4. Yes, you can still keep your mileage if you wanted to keep it, or you can kind of forget about that and just concentrate on the intensity numbers each week, you know. So because you're doing intervals, then that 3 week, that's probably the same intensity that you'll be doing on the other week, because you're doing a tempo run and some easier runs. So all these easier runs that I'm talking about are at an easy pace, so i.e. your aerobic zone, or running at your math tone pace, you know, that sort of pace, so a conversational pace. Recovery doesn't just mean, you know, taking a day off. It means getting as much sleep as possible. You know, in an ideal world you get 8 hours sleep, but obviously with our lives at the moment that's not always possible. So if you can get as much sleep as possible, you know, because when you're asleep, your body's recovering, your muscles are, you know, adapting and recovering. Recovery also means eating the right foods. I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not going to go in the ins and outs, and we're all different. So it's just making sure you take enough protein, carbs and fats. Hydration is also key. We're made up of 70% water. So if you're out on the runs and your legs are heavy, aching, feel like they've got no bounce, could come down to hydration. You know, people throw down numbers of drinking 3 litres a day, but we're all different, and you need to find out what number works for you, because we all sweat at different rates. On top of all this, you need to work on your strength and mobility, because obviously we get older, we lose muscle mass, and we don't become as flexible as we did when we were younger. But if you continue with that flexibility as you're getting older, then obviously you can take that going forward. So, you know, if you don't do exercise to open up your hips and, you know, stretching your hamstrings and stuff like that, then you're going to end up getting a shorter, you know, stride length. You're not going to be, you know, as flexible. You're going to have more risk of getting injury. And also strength work, which I mentioned, that obviously you're losing muscle mass. So just incorporating, you know, once a week, some strength training, whether that be lunges, squats with a, you know, weight, 3 sets of 10, you know, adapt that depending on obviously your ability. So all these things will make you be able to enjoy your running, will be able to make you each session be more quality rather than quantity, and you'll be able to recover. And I found that from doing, you know, the different types of training, that you will be able to run faster when you need to, rather than turning up, you know, at a race or a park run and ending up just being too fatigued, and then wondering, you think, I'm putting all this training, but I'm not, you know, I'm not performing. And sometimes that just comes down to because you're not having enough recovery, and you're just going to end up burning yourself out. So let me know down in the comments, is it something that you do as you've got older? Have you cut back on your training and concentrate more on recovery, looking into, you know, your nutrition more, looking into more strength work? Because, you know, as I said before, when you're kind of a young whippersnapper, you just literally put on your shoes. And you know, when I was younger, I used to do 1500 and 800, didn't train much, didn't stretch, was bulletproof. But then as I started running, when I, you know, started again at 43, it was a lot harder work, and, you know, I was picking up injuries left, right and centre. So give it a go. You know, really, what have you got to lose? I guarantee that by training less, but training smarter, you will get quicker.